Today is September 20th. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today at the Big Book, we're going to continue our journey through Chapter 5, How It Works. We'll be reading part of page 68 and part of 69. Out of the 12 and 12, we're going to continue Step 10. We will be reading page 94, and we'll read today's daily reflection in 24 hours a day. So with that, hope you all are doing well today, my friends. Once again, brand new set of 24 hours we've been given. And I hear from people who have 35, 40, 45 years of sobriety. And they say, yesterday doesn't really matter. Tomorrow's not even in existence right now. All it is just one day at a time. This set of 24 hours. That gives me a lot of hope. Yeah, but it also reminds me I gotta work it every day, right? So, with that rambling aside, let's go ahead and get to the good stuff. All right, out of the Big Book today, we're talking about sex. Now that I got your attention, we're on page 68 and 69. And by the way, if you ever listen to the Joe and Charlie tapes, they have a pretty hilarious joke pertaining to this particular chapter, but I'm not going to spoil it. I couldn't deliver it like they can anyway. But yeah, if you've never checked out the Joe and Charlie tapes, they are absolute gold and a very practical and engaging way to work the steps. But anyways, let's get into it. We're on page 68. We'll be reading part of page 68 and 69. Now about sex. Many of us needed an overhauling there. But above all, we try to be sensible on this question. It's so easy to get way off the track. Here we find human opinions running to extremes. Absurd extremes, perhaps. One set of voices cries that sex is a lust of our lower nature, a base necessity of procreation. Then we have the voices who cry for sex and more sex, who bewail the institution of marriage, who think that most of the troubles of the race are traceable to sex causes. They think we do not have enough of it, or it isn't the right kind. They see its significance everywhere. One school would allow man no flavor for his fare, and the other would have us all on a straight pepper diet. We want to stay out of this controversy. We do not want to be the arbiter of anyone's sex conduct. We all have sex problems. We'd hardly be human if we didn't. What can we do about them? We reviewed our own conduct over the years past. Where had we been selfish, dishonest, or inconsiderate? Whom had we hurt? Did we unjustifiably arouse jealousy, suspicion, or bitterness? Where were we at fault, and what should we have done instead? We got this all down on paper and looked at it. In this way, we tried to shape a sane and sound ideal for our future sex life. We subjected each relation to this test. Was it selfish or not? We asked God to mold our ideals and help us to live up to them. We remembered always that our sex powers were God-given and therefore good, neither to be used lightly or selfishly, nor to be despised and loathed. Whatever our ideals turn out to be, we must be willing to grow toward it. We must be willing to make amends where we have done harm, provided that we do not bring about still more harm in doing so. In other words, we treat sex as we would any other problem. In meditation, we ask God what we should do about each specific matter. The right answer will come if we want it. God alone can judge our sex situation. Counsel with persons is often desirable, but we let God be the final judge. We realize that some people are as fanatical about sex as others are loose. We avoid hysterical thinking or advice. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on Step 10. Continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. And yesterday we talked about the debit side of the day's ledger, and how we carefully examine our motives in each thought and act that appears to be wrong. A little further down, we talked about how, there's 3 things we do here. We try to visualize how we might have done better and resolve with God's help to carry these lessons over into tomorrow. making, of course, any amends still neglected. So we're going to read the next paragraph on page 94, and tomorrow we'll finish up the chapter. But in other instances, only the closest scrutiny will reveal what our true motives were. There are cases where our ancient enemy, rationalization, has stepped in and has justified conduct which was really wrong. The temptation here is to imagine that we had good motives and reasons when we really didn't. Daily Reflection, September 20th. Higher Power as Guide. See to it that your relationship with Him is right, and great events will come to pass for you and countless others. This is the great fact for us. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 164. Having a right relationship with God seemed to be an impossible order. My chaotic past had left me filled with guilt and remorse, and I wondered how this God business could work. AA told me that I must turn my will and my life over to the care of God, as I understand Him. With nowhere else to turn, I went down on my knees and cried, God, I can't do this. Please help me. It was when I admitted my powerlessness that a glimmer of light began to touch my soul, and then a willingness emerged to let God control my life. With Him as my guide, great events began to happen, and I found the beginning of sobriety. 24 hours a day, September 20th. AA Thought for the Day. Step 4 has made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Step 5 has admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. Step 6 is, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. Step 7 is, humbly ask Him to remove our shortcomings. Step 10 is continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. In taking a personal inventory, we have to be absolutely honest with ourselves and with other people. Have I taken an honest inventory of myself? Meditation for the day. God is good. You can often tell whether or not a thing is of God. If it is of God, it must be good. Honesty, purity, unselfishness, and love are all good. Unselfish helpfulness is good, and these things all lead to the abundant life. Leave in God's hands the present and the future, knowing only that He is good. The hand that veils the future is the hand of God. He can bring order out of the chaos, good out of evil, and peace out of turmoil. We can believe that everything really good comes from God, and that He shares His goodness with us. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may reach out for the good. I pray that I may try to choose the best in life. Okay, that concludes today's reading. Man, I really like this last reading. I love this. He can bring order out of the chaos, good out of evil, and peace out of turmoil. You know, I heard this saying not long ago, if we have no enemy within, the enemy outside cannot hurt us. You know, and I think about my greatest weaknesses. I've said it many times on the podcast, but my greatest weaknesses were my selfishness and my alcoholism. And yet they've turned out to be my greatest strengths. God has used something that was so, what I thought was bad in my life. That experience I can use to sit down with somebody who's going through that storm right now and say, hey, to look that struggling man in the eye and go, hey, I've been where you're at. I know what you're going through. What you're feeling right now, I've felt that. You're not alone. and then tell them my God story. Here's what I did. I don't want to preach at anybody. That's certainly never my intention. And if that's ever come across that way on the podcast, I sincerely apologize. I try to just stick with what I've done and what's worked for me. But it's not my place to tell you what you need to do. But what's cool is my own God story, my own love story, I guess you could say. He shines through my greatest failures and can restore something that was broken to something beautiful. I think that's pretty cool. I kind of almost see my higher power, kind of just chiseling away. When I'm ready to give him the chisel, I'm like, yeah, I'm ready for you to take this out of my life. Like, I'm really ready. There's sometimes I want to pick up that one item back or one defect back. That's why it's a daily reprieve for me. But sure enough, over time, he's chiseling away. And over time, I hope and pray that I'm becoming more and more of the man I was always intended to be. And I heard this the other day too, and I can completely relate. That I may not be where I want to be, but I thank God I'm not where I was. And the life I'm living today is the life I prayed for years ago. That's really putting a smile on my face this bright and early. But anyways, my friends, that's enough of my rambling for one day. I hope that you're doing well. If you are sober today, I want you to know that those who love you are very proud of you. And if you're struggling right now, or if you're white knuckling, or even if you're still drinking right now, just know that people love you. People care about you. And you can get the support you need. It's out there. The very first word in the steps is we. You're not alone. And you don't have to face this alone. I've heard some folks in the fellowship say, we will love you till you learn to love yourself. I think that's pretty powerful. So with that, my friends, if we're given another set of 24 hours, I sincerely look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.